Friends, this is Preetha, your host. Welcome back to the sacred space with me as we spend time reading the book Eternal Values for a Changing Society by the late Srimad Swami Ranganathanandaji. As you are aware, the Swami was the 13th president of the Ramakrishna Matan mission, but he was also so much more. He was a scholar par excellence, a spiritual ambassador from India, a philosopher and a teacher, a guide, a guru. This multi-volume treatise that I have decided to read to you through this podcast is a testament to the breadth of his knowledge and the depth of his wisdom. And the more we read, the more we understand why the values are indeed eternal and how the relevance of what he has spoken and said and quoted and referenced and researched so many years ago still holds true. Today's episode, we read a new chapter discussing one of the greatest of Avataras. As you know, we've been discussing avatars. And this is Sri Krishna. The chapter is titled The Personality of Sri Krishna, and Swami Ranganathananda traces this legendary divine life from boyhood to the majesty of a ruler. This was delivered as a talk over All India Radio in Delhi in March of 1951. Let us begin. The Personality of Sri Krishna. The Upanishadic vibrations of truth and beauty, goodness and love became caught in a later age in a mighty condenser of personality who shook up India spiritually and politically during his earthly career around 1400 BCE, and whose voice continues to shake us up even today. Sri Krishna, the author of the Gita, has affected Indian thought and life in such a profound way that has no parallel in India or elsewhere. His influence is both intensive and extensive. If we subtract the Krishna element from the Indian heritage, it will be reduced to almost elementary proportions. He has entered into our religion and philosophy, mysticism and poetry, painting and sculpture, music and dancing, into all that pertains into the varied life of a people advanced in culture and civilization. His personality has a charm for all varieties and levels of people. He has been and continues to be the perennial Pied Piper of the Indian heart and intellect, drawing all to him, our girls and boys, our saints and sages, our intellectuals, our artists, our statesmen, and our diplomats. The Bhagavad Puran of a later age gave expression to the wonder of generations when it stated that Sri Krishna is God himself, unlike Avataras, who at other times were merely aspects and parts of him. Where shall we seek for this mesmerism of Sri Krishna, for this focusing of affections and loyalties of whole people, except in the character of that person and the character of his people? The human fascination for his early life. The broad facts of Sri Krishna's career, as scanned from the pages of the Mahabharata and the Bhagavata, reveal him to have been a leader and a teacher, a citizen and a sage of rare caliber. His childhood and early boyhood were spent in the sylvan surroundings of his rural home at Vraja in the vicinity of Mathura. In spite of the troubled politics of that city, which cast a cloud of sorrow and anxiety over the surrounding countryside, his early life at Vraja, under the loving care of his parents and amidst the simple cowherds of the place, was a saga of sweetness and tenderness, revealing the unity of the human being with nature and the animal world. The shaded groves on the banks of the sacred Yamuna, enlivened by the deer, the peacock and other birds, provided the children of Vraja with an idyllic setting, a real kindergarten for the exercise of their freedom and the expression of their personalities. The picture of young Krishna as depicted in the Bhagavata, tending cattle and playing on his flute, as well as engaging himself in fun and frolic and delights and adventure in the company and at the head of his rustic comrades, has provided the theme for the highest quality of lyrical poetry and spiritual allegory for succeeding ages. Even in childhood, he exhibited the qualities of vivacity and precocity, valor and composure. Born with a capacity for sympathy and for understanding, for humor and for laughter, he grew with them into a personality warm-hearted and thoroughly human, with a serene smile as inalienable part of his facial expression, a smile indicative of a steady intellect and a tender heart with which he used to confront the doubts and despairs, the passions and hatreds of the human heart. Even while young, he was aware of the mission for which he was born and the work he was to accomplish on earth. That mission very soon compelled him to bid goodbye to the beautiful environments and beloved hearts of his native Vraja when he was in his early teens. He spent the rest of his life in a vortex of struggle, first at nearby Mathura and later at the newly built city of Dwarka on the Gujarat coast. While there, the urge of his life work brought him to Delhi, then known as Indraprastha, the capital of India, and its sister city Hastinapura, and to a close friendship with the Pandavas and their allies, and he passed the rest of his life between Indraprastha and Dwarka. The majesty of his later life. The great epic Mahabharata illumines the India of a heroic and creative age. The galaxy of its heroes belongs to a wide range of the lovable and hateful, the righteous and the wicked, the gentle, the ferocious, the admirable and the detestable. The one character that dominates this galaxy, alike by its force and charm, as by its loftiness and brilliance, is that of Sri Krishna. Respected by the sages and loved by the people, feared by the wicked and sought after by the good, full of tender solicitude for the welfare of women and the masses, and honoring those to whom honor is due, the Mahabharata depicts Sri Krishna as a rare hero, at once human and divine, engaged in shaping the mind and the face of India of his time through a long life characterized by ceaseless activity on the one hand and calm detachment on the other. The Mahabharata describes the tumultuous scenes of national welcome that the citizens of Indraprastha and Hastinapura used to accord Sri Krishna, their leader, during his rare visits to India's capital. The song Celestial. The most active and fruitful part of his long life was spent at Indraprastha and its environs, in the company of the political leaders and spiritual luminaries, as well as the humbler men and women of that time. By espousing the righteous cause of the Pandavas against the Kauravas, he was drawn into the national politics of the day, in which he played effective roles, now as an advisor, then as an ambassador, and always as a friend of the righteous and the virtuous, the lowly and the lost. As the last and crowning act of his political career, we find him playing the humble role of an unarmed charioteer to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and leaving to posterity an imperishable legacy in the wisdom he then imparted to grief-stricken Arjuna. Sri Krishna as Parthasarathi, the charioteer of Partha or Arjuna, has become a fascinating and immortal figure through the music of the song Celestial or the Bhagavad Gita, which he then sang to steady the mind and heart of Arjuna. That personality and that music have since then continued to play the charioteer and the stimulus to millions of men and women in the larger battle of life. The Bhagavad Gita expounds a philosophy of life that breathes the lived convictions of its teacher and exemplar. It is a philosophy that imparts wisdom to the individual without imperiling his zest in life. It makes him live at his highest and work at his best. In ordinary life, our zest is the product of our selfish attachments, our activity, the expression of our restlessness and our love, the fruit of our passion and self-love. We begin to lose our zest and our love when life fails to yield selfish advantages. Our activity then loses its motive power and we lapse into a mood of apathy that is compounded of inactivity without and restlessness within. Sri Krishna shows us through precept and example that we can be zestful without being attached and active without being restless. We work at our best when we are free from selfish desires and passions. This is true spirituality, the fruition of the moral process, the achievement of goodness plus effectiveness, the synthesis of the clear intellect, steady heart, and firm hand. It denotes a character that combines strength with gentleness, fearlessness with love, and greatness with humility. The Gita expounds in words what its teacher practiced in life and action. It is this richness and many-sidedness of Sri Krishna's personality that has made it the center of not only calm philosophy and sober history, but also of a rich and varied myth and legend. Heroes who profoundly stir a nation's imagination tend to lose the rigid outlines of their historic being and get invested with a national personality. They become alluring themes to the collective subconsciousness of the people as a whole, as much as to their individual consciousness. When the color of myth and legend responds to the fabric of fact and history in the life of a great hero, we witness the unique phenomenon of a mutual enrichment and edification of the personalities of the hero and his people. Conclusion: the mesmerism of Sri Krishna of legend and history. This is the mesmerism of Sri Krishna, of legend and history. There is a unity of theme between him and his people. Every spiritual and secular aspiration of the Indian people has found a responsive echo from the many-sided life, career, and protean teachings of this great personality. The echoes of his powerful voice and the shadows of his giant form can be discerned in the history of the ancient Greek and Middle East peoples. Interesting as this line of inquiry is, it is more instructive and profitable to seek for him in the living tradition of India and its people, which absorbed him and was absorbed by him. Sri Krishna to us is not a mere historic memory, but a living fact whose voice and form continue to receive fresh accessions of amplitude and strength in the passing of time. India achieved, through him, a synthesis of the classical and the romantic in her traditions and the philosophic and religious in her aspirations. Very few people in the ancient or modern world, be it Greek or Roman, French or English or German, have been able to achieve this height of spiritual synthesis. In all of them, the classical and the romantic, the philosophical and the religious, are ever at war with each other, sometimes violently, but always imperceptibly. With Sri Krishna begins the evolution of a truly national Indian mind, at peace with itself through the synthesis he achieved for it, and at peace with the world through the larger synthesis that came later through Bhagavan Buddha and his movement. This synthesis is the keynote of the Indian mind, and Sri Krishna is its first inspirer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and attention today. In the next episode, we will read another chapter that talks more about Sri Krishna, and in that text, the Swami emphasizes on the universality of Sri Krishna's message and the relevance it holds in this day and age. But more on that next time when we will talk about the universal message of Sri Krishna. For now, I take your leave and I wish you well. This is Preetha, and you were listening to the readings from the Eternal Values for a Changing Society. Thank you and Namaste.